Going once, going twice, sold! You're listening to The Property Pod.
All right, guys, welcome back to The Property Pod, your fun and engaging way into the real estate world. I am your host, Aaron Horn, and I'm joined by 414 Property Co-agents John McGregor and Patrick Berry.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello, gentlemen.
Full disclosure, this is the second recording of this podcast, as at about 8 minutes into the previous recording, I was looking at John as he was on a full rant, which was actually really good, interesting information, and I had to say, John, I'm going to have to stop you there. I'm not recording.
Well, wasn't you recording me and no one else? So.
Yeah, so we would have had audio from just you. So it actually would have been quite interesting to listen back to, because it would have just been
just me
you having a
that
conversation. And
Look, let's face it, that's 80% of our episodes anyway.
Very true, very true. I think the jumping off point where we were talking was that now that we've got all the video and stuff going on, when I introduce you as John McGregor and the Facebook does the auto captions at the bottom, often it comes up if you don't have the audio on, and it said, or it took my saying John McGregor and made it John Rodriguez.
I love that.
And I was like, what? Imagine John as a John Rodriguez.
I'd get the boots would just have a little bit. I'd get the Cuban heel and then make sure it's got
flair on them.
Yeah, and get some spats on them as well. Not spats. What's the
thing
that
the horses.
The spurs. That's it. So every time you'd hear me walk into the office, you'd shink, shink. Oh, I'd love that. Well, I'm really concerned because if I talk too fast or I don't enunciate enough, it really just sounds like a mumble. I'm that proper Tasmanian accent where it's just, for me, it almost sounds like if I get too tired, I liken it to a bagpipe. You know where it sort of it starts off with that sort of low tone, then the notes start? That's pretty much my voice. So it's sort of and then it sort of mumbles.
Of course, the Scottish guy would come up with like the Scottish instrument, the most bizarre instrument in the world. Be like, how can I get it in like that? My voice sounds like a bagpipe. How Scottish am I?
I'm just trying so hard.
I did want to run something Scottish by you though, just in the sake of talking of your heritage. Your dad has put his your family home on the market.
Yeah, yep.
Oh well, it kind of went under offer. Was one of those off-market sales.
Ones, yeah, which is really unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Yeah, sorry, Dad, I sold your house too quick.
I said fortunate.
Oh, I thought you said
I swear
unfortunate.
you said unfortunate.
No. See, well, let's see what the captions say.
It sounds like this. It was really unfortunate. Like it was under his breath, like he was like, I didn't really want to sell it, but Dad made me.
The captions will probably read as, I like cheese.
But I went and took the photos to sell it, and then you've got in, sold it off market. But
Always handy since that's your job.
Yes, that is my job, yes. I was actually saying to Sebastian, my little apprentice, as we went in, all the like stuff we used to do as high school kids. Like, remember the time Tone, we've walked around the corners wearing those welding goggles and people are spitting ice at him, which is completely un-COVID safe.
That was madness. Because I remember walking down the stairs and then there was that moment of, I don't know if shock was the right word, but it was just like, what is going on? He's just sitting there taking it.
Yeah. Don't know why.
No, don't know why.
So we've walked into that space though, however, and for anyone out there that doesn't know, well, you wouldn't know, the carpet is this like tartan.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. Taking photos of it was quite interesting because it kind of just had a whole life of its own.
Yep.
But was that something your dad put in? Is that kind of that's your clan colours?
No, but it was just pure luck that, it was in there already, because it was just like, yep, there's our heritage through and through. And the bonus, if you remember.
What, the pure luck of the only people that are so proud of their Scottish heritage that they go to Scotland to compete in McGregor games happen to have carpet like that?
They always say there's something in every house that you fall in love with. And for the McGregor family, it's clearly the carpet.
And don't forget too, is that in the rumpus, that's where the bar was. So coupled with the tartan carpet was a bar right as you walk through the door.
Pure. Geez, I'd love to know the owners before, like what their story of like
how
the
they put that in.
Is.
Well, Dad had sold that house twice before apparently, and the guy who built it it was 1977.
Was the tartan there from the start? Oh, you don't know?
Well, Dad could probably find out or probably recall for us, but The house was actually really high tech when it was built. So 1977, it had an intercom system. It had the vacuum system. It had the big boiler downstairs. It had all this tech for the time.
I remember the intercom. I remember
Tech for the time.
in your bedroom having that button where you
Yeah.
could talk to downstairs and run downstairs and say something funny.
Well, that was so great because if we forgot to mute the wall, well, then of course if our brothers were wanted to piss each other off, we'd just wake each other up with a kick.
Wait a minute. So if you hit the microphone, the whole house got the message.
you had the option of either selecting a room or you could
so the
or you could
intercom
do a
system had
broadcast.
all the rooms listed.
Yeah.
I remember there was
yeah.
heaps of buttons. There was 6 buttons all along it.
No,
You could-
no.
Yeah, I remember.
It was brilliant. When we were showing it through this time now, it's been disconnected now, but you still got a few of the old.
Was it too much
parts.
fun?
Well, probably.
Your dad got sick of being woken up by the
I think that was more so the case because it didn't get old right until
woke up
we
in
all
a
moved
fit
out.
of
as
rage.
adults. Well, it was worth it. It was worth it. But with that tartan carpet though, it was just pure coincidence. And Dad had legitimately had people who had visited the house over the years to say, look, if ever you want to, I'll buy the carpet off you because I've never seen anything before like it.
I've never
And-
seen anything like it. Taking the photos of it was tricky, but
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything. And
Well, 'cause it's got
I
this thick
assumed
red
it
and
must have been a
purple.
family.
No. Well, but it does make me think because the McGregor tartan has a few different options. So one of my favourite ones, it's the Rob Roy tartan because it's the black and red squares. And if you almost see anywhere, there's the flannelettes, probably the most common one is that guys buy is the black and red squares.
Yeah.
Now that's actually a McGregor tartan. So one day we went down to the Carlisle and all of us had bought this same shirt for a bit of fun. And there must have been about 15 of us wearing all the same shirt, just gathering in the foyer bit.
Looking like a bucks party or
Just
something
looking like a bucks party with kids and wives and everyone hanging around. And then some random bloke walks through the door wearing the exact same shirt. And of course, we've all just gone, yeah! He's just freaking out, going, what the hell is this deal? So because we just roped him in and just grabbed him a pint and then just kicked him off to the dining room before he really even knew what the hell just happened to him.
I'm sure he said, man, I wish my partner just let me wear my T-shirt today like I planned.
He probably bought it that day to impress because obviously they're going out on a date.
To the car.
To the car.
Nothing wrong with the car
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
hot
exactly,
date.
exactly.
Speaking of hot dates, is your wedding anniversary
It is my wedding anniversary on Saturday.
on Saturday? How many years are we?
11 this year.
11.
I heard a secret plan that you were planning on telling the place you were going that it may be your 10th to see if you could milk any bonus treats out of it.
Definitely didn't write that in the booking form, that's for sure.
It's funny. It's my anniversary with my partner today as well. So day of
that's it.
recording, we're going out to St. Albie tonight to recreate our second date. I think it was. Our first date was at Room for a Pony, and we'll recreate that. And I was only saying this morning, 3 years. Normally, this is where you start getting serious and start thinking do you think we should maybe
have a house?
move in and have a house? It was
I know you're pretty serious.
Yeah, you got this down.
we might have done that at 3 months rather than 3 years. So shout out to my lovely partner, Sarah.
You were on the fast track. On the game of life, you went straight to the middle line.
Look, when you know, you know. It's like walking into a house. So I walked into the house that I ended up purchasing and I just knew. Same with my partner, and it happened that she just knew that was our house as well. So we've done all right. So shout out to my partner and shout out to Pat's lovely wife, Abby.
She doesn't listen. There's no point.
No point in shouting. We'll just shout down the hole.
Well, if she did listen, she'd find out that you wanted to talk today about the Rate My Agent Awards.
I did.
And you wanted to talk because her department
Her
has
team has cleaned up.
Yeah, that was cool. So
But then what's the point if she's not listening? So let's move on.
You wouldn't do that, Pat.
No, we really should. Really excited because they actually picked up a heap of awards this year, which was really fantastic. So for those that don't know, the Rate My Agent Awards are sort of awards based on reviews and sort of good customer service in the real estate industry.
Yeah, so it's kind of not a peer-reviewed system, but it's people that you actually work with, the customers and the vendors actually kind of going out of their way, or you can ask for the reviews to come through, but it's nice to get an honest and feedback. It's like when you start an Airbnb and at the end it says, can you give us a review to find out how we went, what we could do better, etc.
Yeah. So look, we've been working with them for a while now and they've done a really good job this year. And as a result, Rate My Agent have recognised them for a heap of awards, which is great.
Yeah, the email came through to me the other day with all the marketing materials to say if you want to pump up your tyres. Here's all the stuff. And it was like, this award, this award, this award, this award. I was like, that's too many awards for me to talk about.
Yeah, look, it's a lot. Here,
That's too many tyres.
I'll quickly go through them. Top 100 agency ranked number 50 in Australia for property management.
madness.
So I don't know. There's thousands of agencies across Australia. To be in the top 50 is pretty impressive.
Man, absolutely.
Ranked fourth in the top 10 within Tasmania. So right across Tassie, number 4. Third in Hobart in property management. And you got third in Hobart twice on the list, Aaron. You made me excited for a second.
It's worth repeating.
What list are you talking about?
The blog post. Anyway, so we won one less award than I thought for a split second. Still really good result to have 3 outstanding awards.
But it is also like across all the suburbs.
Yeah,
where
so
superstars.
then across suburbs, we are the number 1 agency in Glenorchy, Claremont, Brighton and Bridgewater this year, which is pretty fun. So, obviously our backyard, it's really fantastic to be recognised in the area we're working in.
Yeah, well, it's a testament to the hard work of the crew as well.
Yeah, well, there's 8 of them now, so the team's getting pretty big. So, it's a big operation now running the rental department, so it's really great to be recognised.
Yeah, and I guess, sometimes I think with the awards, you often don't, especially with the Ratemyagent one, it's one that you don't really actively go out and search for. It's sort of one that you just do the work and obviously just requesting the views over time, or they're providing the reviews. And at the end of the year, like, oh my God, this is a real thing. So it's kind of nice because some other awards you do have to write and apply for and submit, whereas this one just goes on behind the scenes and go, hey, did you realise?
Well, I guess that's one thing. I never knew that if you wanted to win an award, you had to put a submission in to be kind of like, can you recognise me for this award? So I know we wrote some selection criteria, whatever, at one time. We're writing them out, and I'm just like, this seems so bizarre to be like, can you please recognise me? I'm going to tell you how amazing I am.
Where this one is a voted system, so it's a different criteria, so it's a pretty fun one to win.
No, look, shout out to the property management team at 414 Property Co. Really, really good to be awarded and recognised for their amazing achievements and amazing work throughout a really tough year.
Yeah.
There was all that stuff we talked about recently with the moratorium. What was the word?
Moratorium.
Last year was hard.
Yeah.
It was a tough year.
Definitely hard in property management to deal with tenants that are struggling and owners that can't understand why rents aren't coming in, and to still get that sort of recognition in reviews over that course of the year. Obviously they handled it pretty well, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I was really proud of what the office did because we adapted quick.
That's the other thing. It was 2 teams joining together that obviously operated in different styles and formats. It's kind of an analog, digital, bang them together, see what happens, and to be awarded awards for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice too because I got an email this morning from one of our investors. We help him purchase a property. It'd be a couple of years ago, I think 2018. He reminded me it was, but he's emailed me to say, hey, look, I'm interested in grabbing this one. Do you mind looking on my behalf? So it's going to be a fun process for me to switch from negotiating on the owner's side to becoming a buyer's agent in many senses.
Yeah, for sure.
I've done that a fair bit over the time with different investors, and all they really want is like they trust you, so they want you to go have a quick look through for them because. If you ring them and say, it's all good, go for it, makes them feel more comfortable about making an offer. Yeah,
absolutely. And it sort of comes down to same when people will they'll ask for rental references. I think, the questions can be very, very simple. It's like, look, would I put them in my property? Yeah. That's what you really need to ask the question. Or it's like, even with staff, it's like, would you have them back? Absolutely. Like, to me, that's the best reference. I know with, for investors, it's like, well, would I be proud to have this in my portfolio? Absolutely. All that by what you've described, that plan makes sense.
It was, I was only reading something before, a lead agent article, something about the welcome to the age of assistance was kind of their headline. And it was kind of, I know we've talked about in the past, agents seem like kind of gatekeepers of the information, but now it's kind of turning into this world of let's get the data and be able to give it to people because people are searching for like, what should I do when I'm negotiating a house? What should I do this? Yeah. People are listening to podcasts about real estate to try and get a foot in the door.
Yes.
So they're kind of coming to you as a trusted vessel and saying like, wow, like, can you go and have a look for me? Because if you give me the
go ahead,
I'll go ahead.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. It is a shifting way that the real estate industry works and what we're expected to do these days. And education, I think, is fast becoming the main part of our job.
Yeah. Well,
and education and guiding people to make the right decisions and to help them make the right decisions.
Well, and that goes to show that the core things never change, which is that element of trust. Like it often happens too, where actually we had a scenario this morning. If you really quickly want to get on someone's bad side when it comes to buying off market,
Which we love to talk about on this show.
Which is the biggest conversation we get asked about at the moment too. So, I mean, I'll link this back, but to tell you the story, I had an inquiry on one of our other properties that's under contract, and I said, well, look, we've got one that you guys did a photo shoot for yesterday in Chigwell. I said, look, they were driving up north, but they're coming back next week. So I said, look, we're not going to be able to take anyone through till next week. Yep. But feel free to have a drive past. If it's something you're interested in, just send me a text and we'll lock that in for you.
So you just told them to do a drive past.
Just
swing by the street and have a look.
And it's like, please don't go up to the house. There is a dog at the backyard. It might get a bit nervous. So if you just be courteous, just have a drive past. If it's what you're after, let me know. So I found out this morning from Aaron, who was up there, is that because he'll always do with the new listings, he'll knock on the doors and let everyone know what's going on for us. He'd gone, well, apparently the buyer.
This is Aaron Murray, not
Aaron Murray, not you. Sorry,
me. Sorry.
Yeah, our other offsider. He apparently the buyer's gone up to the door, knocked on it, walked around the property as much as they could, then gone next door, knocked on the neighbour's door and said, hey, do you know the owners? How do we get in touch with them? I hear they're selling. Can I have a look through? Asking the neighbour how they can organise inspection. And I thought, well, if there's one way to get on an agent's bad side who's given you early access, that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, that seems so strange. So you'd kind of given them a heads up, like this is going to be happening. Please just drive by. Don't do anything out of the ordinary, which what you just described sounds quite. Yeah. Like if someone came and knocked on my house, whether it was for sale or about to be for sale, I'd feel very uncomfortable by just a stranger being like, well, can I come and have a sticky beak?
Yeah. Oh, and the agent told me about it, you know? So I mean, in the end, they'll still get a fair opportunity. Don't get me wrong about that. But that quickly could have gone on their wrong side because one, if that, imagine the owners asked me to make sure that, you know, please don't do certain things outside, but we still want to generate the interest. They've knocked on the door. The owner's freaking out, and then the buyer's probably go, well, the agent told me to come here. Like you could really quickly sour a relationship and lose all that trust, and then it becomes he said, she said. So I mean, the thing is with that relationship with that buyer was like, well, I'll be very careful now not to ever give them any early information because it's just like, well, if you're going to go directly against a opportunity we've provided, mate, you know, it's like, sorry.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear, like I assume for them it didn't seem like it was a bad thing to be doing or a wrong thing to be doing. Like perhaps they'd been out there, had 14 offers refused. And
absolutely.
Like, we need to find out how we can just get into the market the way it is at the moment. It's just a really funny kind of scenario to be like, I'm just going to, like, I know you told me about one time like a note put in the letterbox and just being like, I want your house, and like rather than it being like I want to buy your house, it was just like this. I want your house. It's just like okay,
that's not my story, but I like it.
No, it's someone. I immediately thought,
I want this house.
If this is going to be anyone's story, it's going to be John's.
Well, it's been a fun.
But it does remind me back to a time.
Well, that's the surreal thing. Because with, I suppose, our parents' house coming on the market now. So, like for our client, we're going to be looking on his behalf as a agent, as a buyer's agent, effectively. But on the other end, we're being the agent representing my parents. So I was showing our old family home, which I know absolutely intimately. But there's this still a degree of separation because Dad told me years ago when I remember prepping for the house every when we're living in Stapleton Street in Glenorchy, we'd get a call from one of the agents to say, "Hey boys, when you get home from school, get
make
the house
sure your
all
room's
tidy,
clean,
yep, wash the dishes and stuff, put away the mess of the fish fingers.
I want to play Super Nintendo."
Well, I had to find amuse myself. Apparently, we weren't allowed to play Sega when they were showing the house, but what happened was Dad had the experience of trying to sell his own home and he had to keep his mouth shut because the person walked in and just started beating it down. Like, I hate the carpet. I hate the colour of the walls. Why would you do this? This is disgusting. Why would you choose those plants? So he's just there going, cool. It's like someone's just beating down your little thing you've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
So he had to just bite his lip the whole time. And at that stage, you can't at the end say, because he's a professional, go, well, this was my house. Could you imagine how embarrassed the buyer would be?
I can only imagine your dad kind of sitting there just kind of turning red, the steam starting to come out the
I can
ears.
just imagine your dad dropping that at the end, though.
Yeah, just out of spite. Yeah.
Stuff you, mate.
Well, so that was kind of a fun example because there's this idea you keep the buyer and the seller apart so you can keep the deal together, and I think that means it works a lot sometimes. But when we were showing Mum and Dad's house, it was this nice separation because I could say, I could like every little detail of the last however many years. This is why that's that way. That's why this is way. But if they wanted to make any like negative feedback, it didn't matter because it wasn't me that they were.
Yeah, you weren't the one that had done all the work to the property to fix up the
or whatever, or was it
garden
my
or do all
choice?
the
It was
things.
their choice. So it was just really, and fortunate enough, the couple that we showed through everything they loved, even the tartan carpet. They
lives on.
because get this, they had Scottish heritage.
What are the chances? Like, I have no
I kid
idea.
you not,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh yeah, we came on a convict ship so far back, but like, who knows their heritage and be like, oh, this carpet like makes me feel right at home because
Yeah, exactly.
it's my baby.
So but that was
Cuddle.
well, I can promise you.
I love you, carpet.
the best.
Well, I could probably have. I wonder if there's a way we could help leave a gift there with some sort of Scottish heritage, maybe a little tartan doll or something. I don't know.
Maybe the house is possessed and it just talks to the people through the
Talk to the-
There's a Scottish ghost that lives there that
Yeah.
is like, I need another Scotsman.
It's walking the halls with a broadsword, protecting any evil spirits that might ward the neighbourhood.
It's a Highlander. There can be only one. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, I have a question. When is this building inspector coming on?
Oh, that's true.
That's a very good point.
Because you emailed 2 shows ago, I
Yeah,
believe.
and he didn't actually respond.
Oh,
And
wow.
now that you've told me, I need to chase that up.
Yeah, you better chase that up because
Or
I
a
think
new
we
one.
need to get a hot guest on because people are getting sick of seeing our mugs.
Yeah.
and they want to see someone else on video.
Although
in
you
here.
did ask had an interesting question that might be useful for people moving. What was that with your friend?
I'll
originally?
save that for another episode. I've got 2 or 3 questions from a few people here that I might just put together for another episode.
I could do like the old like we did
Like the
that
Max mailbag.
sort of
Yeah, I've
thing.
got a few little things that have come through, so we might hold off on that. So we wrap up here for today.
Yeah, okay.
We go out and you can sell your Allagunga Road.
Yeah, that's true. To that buyer, very last.
Yes. Awesome. Pat's emailing.
Yep, I'm just sending that email off. I'm going to get this guest.
All right. Pat is promising a guest next week.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Take
See
care.
ya. Bye. You have been listening to The Property Pod, recorded and edited by 414 Media House in conjunction with 414 Property Co.
This podcast is general information only, and the thoughts and views expressed is the opinion of our panel, and listeners should always seek then use their own investigation into any topic we discuss to ensure they fully understand their own situation.
It does not constitute and should not be relied on as purchasing, selling, financial or investment advice or recommendations, express or implied, and it should not be used as an invitation to take up any agent or investment services. No investment decision or activity should be undertaken on the basis of this information without first seeking qualified and professional advice.